Uno, dos, tres, cuatro, cinco, seis.
The aim of a research program, my dear Hogan, is not to find out new information. We already know that the German pilots are superior. Here we are merely furnishing scientific proof.
The aim of tech support is not always to solve the problem. Sometimes those who run tech support just want you to get the customer off the phone. I'm already in archive, and this is complicated. This isn't quite a hybrid theory. It's not quite a chaos theory. It's not even really a carnage. It's a response to various questions that I've been seeing on Twitter, on Skype, on Discord, in text messages, and in a couple forums. You've started posting videos again, Aryan. What happened? Why'd you stop streaming? Why'd you stop uploading videos last year? Well, there's a number of different reasons why I stopped uploading videos and streaming. Now, the first of those reasons actually is probably the more important, and that is something I have discussed in previous videos that I'm 99% certain have been uploaded. Whether or not they can be viewed is a completely different question. So, to reiterate for the Rumble audience, last year, while discussing a couple of City of Heroes related videos, I started finding out that viewers were watching these videos all the way through and had specific questions that were only in later portions of the videos. And I double checked, you watched my video. You didn't just, like do an audio, uh, like dump the audio and do a transcript of it and go, no, okay, yeah, because I'm not seeing any evidence that you watched my video. That video has 0 views. That video has a comment turned off. I didn't turn the comments off. Now, that's interesting. And while trying to figure out what was going on, why were people saying that they've watched the videos? Why were people able to provide me with evidence in the form of screenshots, log files, cookies, uh, and in one case, somebody even Skyping me and pointing their phone at their screen while they were watching the video? I mean, hearing myself talk back to myself is a little odd. Uh, that was a little freaky because obviously people were watching the videos that YouTube was saying nobody has watched. You have no audience. No one's doing anything with these videos. And as I'm trying to figure out what's going on here, is this an intentional error? Is this, am I just not updated? What's going on here? I then noticed while scrolling through the videos that some of my videos have been demonetized. Specifically, almost all of the videos that people had proven to me that they had watched had a demonetization strike. Now, this is interesting because it's a content strike with a copyright claimed on something that was played during the stream. Now, if you've watched those previous streams, you would know that at the start of a stream, I would announce whatever playlist or track that I'm listening to. Like if I'm listening to Chill Hop, I would give the title or the playlist or the track that I'm listening to start with, Chill Hop Music. Me. And I would have a specific set of playlists that I would just cycle through. So a number of these videos were all having the same audio setting. Nothing changed in the volume settings, nothing changed in OBS, same playback every single time for these streams, but not every video with those audio streams was demonetized. Now, that's weird because if Google was actually doing a content deauthorization or a content search to deauthorize monetization based on an audio profile, it should have tagged every single video where those audio streams were duplicated, not just one or two. So either Google is messed up on the back end, or the more likely scenario, since there was a specific content warning strike made against me after I posted a very political video where Google flat out said this violates community rules, And that told me, because this content strike went up almost as immediately as the stream finished, that Google was censoring me while I was streaming. Google was turning off content, we're turning off the comments, turning off content generation and the interaction while I was streaming. Now, why would they do that? Is it because I have a large audience? Probably not. As far as Google told me, I didn't have any audience, even though I know I do. In fact, I find it interesting that Rumble, I'm actually seeing impressions and views and comments back that YouTube says I never got. Now, why is that? Why would Google censor me? Why would they drop the hammer on me? The answer is obvious. If Google is censoring me specifically, they consider me a threat, and they're going to try and terminate that threat before it becomes a bigger problem. And that sent me on a search for another service. Who offers YouTube features that I can just change my streaming target and just keep going? I mean, who isn't going to issue me a content strike because I have some music obviously playing in the background? It's not the core focus. I'm not playing a track at full volume saying, "This is my track and I made it," but it's somebody else's music. I'm not doing that. I'm obviously talking over it. This is background audio. It's looking around, and while I was going through that search, another event happened, and this actually is what put the physical kibosh on my ability to stream video. And then now we have to get to what's actually on the screen in front of you. And what we're looking at is a Google Fiber speed test, and we're looking at the current active uh, connection of my home modem to T-Mobile's network, and we're looking at some speed test measurements that were taken comparing my phone to my home ISP. Now, if you've followed me on Twitter, you might know that I signed up for T-Mobile Home ISP as soon as they announced it. I was interested, I wanted it, and I got the invitation to join, and I got the modem before, emphasis on before, the local stores or even the regional stores even knew that T-Mobile Home ISP was launching in my region. My modem was set up and connected when there was only one tower configured for Home ISP, and I was at the extreme edge of that tower's reach. So there are photos on Twitter of me showing the previous T-Mobile modem's signal as it cycled between a 4G connection, a 4G LTE connection, a 3G CDMA connection, and an Edge connection. Now, over time, T-Mobile Home ISP significantly ramped up their infrastructure. Last year, we'll get into that, I was able to stream a 720p video at about 60 frames per second up to YouTube without a problem over T-Mobile's 4G Home ISP network. And then the modem had to be replaced. Now, because I had a first gen modem, this meant I got bumped all the way up to T-Mobile's current modem, which again, I don't think has actually been released for the market that I'm in. Because there's only one 5G tower, and I'm at the extreme edge of it. So again, I have the same problem that I had when I first went to T-Mobile Home ISP. Um, And I just realized I have two pictures here swapped from where they should be. Give me a minute while I swap these videos. While I swap these pictures over for the video. Okay, that's more accurate. Sorry. Of course I would notice that halfway through the video. Alright, so what we're looking at in the lower right hand corner is my phone. It is a Red Magic 6R. Now, to be fair, the Red Magic 6R is an international release phone. It is using a Qualcomm chipset with a Qualcomm modem. It is not necessarily optimized or specifically configured to connect to T-Mobile's 5G services. Now, that being said, as you can obviously see from the icons at the top of this image, or at the top of this black image, the Red Magic 6R is connected on a 5G network. And currently, when I ran a speed check on it, it gave me a ping of 38 milliseconds, a jitter of 13 milliseconds, a download speed of 31.2, and I'm assuming this is megabytes per second and not megabits per second. I could be wrong. So, uh, Google's fiber speed test doesn't specify if this is measured in megabytes or megabits. I'm assuming megabytes from the capital M lowercase b. And an upload speed of 11.6 megabytes per second. Now, this is actually pretty good for, I mean, it's pretty good, period. I mean, uh, compared to the other services around here, it's fast enough. I mean, yes, it could be faster, but it's fast enough. All right, so if we look over to the lower left-hand side of the screen. Wow, right hand, left hand, hold one up. Oh, boy. As I have another fight with my headset. All right, so on the lower left-hand side of the screen, we have the current T-Mobile cellular network information, and we have our PCI, our bandwidth, uh, and we also, most importantly, have our access point name. Now, here we can definitely see that the access point for T-Mobile T-Mobile Home ISP and T-Mobile US LTE are different networks. Instead of fast.tmobile.com, I'm connecting to fbb.home. So we are definitely using different towers, different access points, and that's kind of critical. Now, next to that, the image that I had to move into its appropriate location was a speed test that I did a while ago. Probably could actually go look up the photo metadata and tell you how long ago it's been since I took that photo. And I want. Alright. T-Mobile Home has a properties creation date of January 13th, 2023. So on January 13th is when I took that speed test that's in the middle of the screen. And at that time, I had a ping of 127 milliseconds, a jitter of 312 milliseconds, download of 3.7 megabytes per second, and an upload of 1.6 megabytes per second. Or, despite theoretically being on a 5G network, we're only a fraction of the performance of the phone's performance. Now, to be fair, I do run through a router. This was not a direct connection. I also didn't make sure that nothing else was being downloaded and that there was no other network traffic going on. So earlier today, I'm directly connected to the modem over the modem's access point, so I'm directly connected to the modem, and I ran the speed test again. And that's the one that you're currently seeing in the middle of the screen, the active speed test. And it has a ping of 134 milliseconds, a jitter of 431 milliseconds, a download of 1.4 megabytes per second, and an upload of 2.8 megabytes per second. I'm pretty sure that I'm not paying for higher upload than download. So at this point, I've gone around, turned every device I can think of off, um, checked my network traffic at the router, made sure that there's no downstreaming patches from Google, made sure that there's nothing that I'm not aware of going on in the background, and directly connected. I'm just going to go ahead and run this speed test again in real time while I'm recording. And just to give you an idea of what's going on while I'm recording. And we got our ping, we got our jitter, and now we're going to calculate that download. And again, I am running direct to the router. According to Windows 11, this is classified as a Wi-Fi 6 connection. And we can see that at this point, my download has substantially improved. I'm at 15.8 megabytes download, and I'm not looking so great on the upload. And what are we going to complete out at? And our upload is 1.5 megabytes per second. Okay, so on one hand, my download speed is theoretically better. Uh, my upload speed is still somehow worse. My ping and my jitter are still better. However, compared to my phone, it's still a fraction of the performance. So this is one of the reasons why I just haven't been streaming, because a 1.6 average megabyte per second upload speed is it's not really enough to do any kind of outbound streaming on. And bouncing back and forth, okay, fine, at 4 megabytes per second download. Uh, yeah, you can watch YouTube videos pretty reliably and not really suffer anything. Just make sure that Steam's got a bandwidth limiter on it. Epic Game Store now offers a download limiter, but for the most part, the download performance is good enough that casual web browsing is possible. But more active upload download performance is not really plausible. And part of that is that jitter. Now, the example given on my phone, that jitter should be lower than the ping. That the jitter is still 4 times the ping is concerning. Now, I do know that T-Mobile will eventually fix this. There will be more towers erected, there will be more access points, uh, but I don't know how long that's going to take. I don't know when T-Mobile is going to finish building infrastructure for the region that I am in. But until T-Mobile does finish the infrastructure build out, until there are more towers, until there are more access points to connect to, outbound streaming just isn't going to happen. And in some ways, I'm probably not going to be able to do much online gaming either. That's a really pathetic upload, especially compared to even a DSL connection. And that means that, and again, that jitter, that jitter, that high ping, those are big issues as well that really affect online gameplay. Um, so for those of you who keep inviting me to Task Force or to play Gunfire or to do something online, I'm going like, I really can't do that. This is why. Right now, my internet connection is kind of bad. Now, I do have to say this here. Is it worse than Wide Open West, who I had before? No, not even close. And uh, when I ejected out of Wide Open West, let's just say that I would have uh, let's just say that even these worst case numbers, the ones that I had on January 13th at 3.7 megabytes, at 1.6 megabytes, that ping and that jitter, uh, that would have been a good day for Wide Open West. Their network is terrible, and don't get me started on the other one, because then we'll start spouting four-letter words and really don't want to go down that route. So, okay, this is like I said, this isn't really a Carnage video. This isn't something that I've done to hardware. This isn't talking about hardware. This is just talking about what's impacted my decision to hold off on posting to YouTube and find another solution. And then once I found a solution, I was kind of, okay, let's give this a shot. I had a hardware change that, well, has pretty much made how I've delivered videos in the past difficult. But that's all I got for you for right now. I'm Ari in Archive, and I'll catch you later.